introduce our next storyteller, Miss Adrienne Crawford. And Adrienne's going to share a story. Oh, clapping on. Adrienne's going to share a story about motherhood and expectations.
I love Christmas photos. I love finding matching outfits for my kids to wear so I can capture them and their sweet personalities and send it off for our family and friends to enjoy. I first started this tradition after our second child was born. Our oldest son was about 1.5 years and our new one was just days old. It was going to be perfect. I bought matching sweaters and hats, brought them upstairs to our beautiful room of windows in our 100-year-old Detroit home, and I set them up. But every time I took that step back to get their picture, my older son took off my younger son's hat and stuck it in his mouth repeatedly. I suddenly realized that this photo thing, this motherhood thing, might be harder than I thought. In addition to photographing my kids in matching sweaters, the photos commemorate the season in 3 special ways. Number 1, I found out I was pregnant with my first child on Christmas Eve. My second child was born on Christmas Day, and our third child was born on Thanksgiving. I had an uneventful first pregnancy and childbirth, but as soon as my son was born, they whisked him away to the NICU, and I was left alone in my room. About an hour later, the neonatologist and my husband returned. She said, "Your baby was blue, he had fluid in his lungs, but he's looking really good now. We are, however, pretty sure that he has Down syndrome. Do you have any questions?" My body was shaking, my heart was racing, and I looked around the room for a familiar face. And there was my husband standing, smiling, as if to say, "It's okay. You're okay, I'm okay, we're gonna be okay." I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. And I remember thinking, I'm 25. Isn't this supposed to happen to older women? I'd been told, you're young, you're healthy, everything's gonna be fine. Regardless, I couldn't hear any more information until I had this baby in my arms. So my only question for the neonatologist was, when can I have my baby? About an hour later, they brought him back and handed him to me, and I remember holding him, and I looked at him in the light, and I caught his profile, and I said, "Oh, yep, you do have Down syndrome, don't you?" Mm-hmm. And I looked at him, and I made a promise to him in that moment. I would love him unconditionally, and I would fight for the world to do the same. During my hospital stay, the social worker came by, and she brought a packet of information in a book about babies with Down syndrome from the local Down syndrome society. And so I read it. Well, in this book is everything that can go wrong, because that's what you should give a young mother. Babies with Down syndrome are more likely to have heart defects and gastrointestinal problems, and more likely to get leukemia and need tubes in their ears and glasses and a childhood of therapies. I just remember thinking, this is so much. And you know, when he was born, I grieved, but I didn't grieve that he had Down syndrome because of how it was going to impact my life. I grieved that he had Down syndrome because I suddenly remembered all the people who treat people with disabilities so poorly, friends and people I heard on the street who use the R word. And I started thinking, is he gonna get teased in school? Is he gonna be a good brother? Should we have more children? Am I gonna be enough for this? And so Bentley was an interactive, happy baby from the start. He loved to be held and played with and laughed, and so it didn't take long for me to answer that question about siblings. And 7 months after he was born, I was pregnant. People thought I was crazy, but I was so excited. I went into labor on Christmas Day, and later in the afternoon, Clayton Matthew joined our family. And the next day, we were discharged from the hospital, and I was sitting on our couch at home holding my brand new baby, and Bentley was playing on the ground with toys and caught me out of the corner of his eye, as he often does. And he crawled over and pulled himself up on the couch, stuck his thumb in his mouth, tears running down his face, and looked at me as if to say, what have you done to us? Being 16 months apart, it didn't take long for the boys to be the same size. And everywhere we went, I was asked, are they twins? No, they're not twins, but they are best friends. They played together and danced together and wrestled and jumped in the leaves in fall. 2 years after Clayton joined our family, Lily came on Thanksgiving, and so it was time to take that annual Christmas photo. The boys are in matching sweaters, and their fingers are in their mouths, and they're staring at the camera like, what, why, who is this? Lily's just days old, and she's still yellow because she's jaundiced, and she's, teeny tiny in a Christmas outfit, and she's looking at the camera like, I want to go back. We're in that warm, quiet place where I was. David and I are smiling because we're excited to start our young family. To be honest, I think that the kids' faces do a much better job telling you what the future held. Having 3 little kids in such a short period of time meant our highs were really high and our lows were really low. Clayton loved to build towers of blocks around the room and train tracks. And so for Christmas one year, when he was in kindergarten, he got a 1,000-piece Batman Lego set. He was so excited. It took him all of Christmas break to build. And when he was done, we put it up on the shelf in their room so we could all enjoy it. Well, one day, the boys got into a pretty epic fight. And while Clayton was out of the room, Bentley came in, picked the Lego set up off the shelf, and smashed it to pieces on the tile floor. Clayton heard it and came running in the room, and it was all I could do to swoop him up in my arms as he screamed, "I hate my brother." And the hard thing was that in that moment, Bentley didn't understand the impact of what he had done. He didn't understand that this Lego set was different than the wooden blocks. And he, in essence, lacked empathy. And I didn't know that as a mother, your heart can literally be torn in 2 places at the same time. And I didn't know, was I enough for this? We got to see the development of Bentley's empathy when on another Christmas, he received a gift. And he opened it up. And inside was a brand new Woody costume from Toy Story. And he put it on, complete with the cowboy hat, and he paraded around the room, and we all cheered. Clayton started crying because he wanted a Woody costume. So of course we started consoling him. Well, Bentley, while we were consoling him, had gone to the bedroom, taken off the costume, and brought it out. Bentley had very few words at this point in his life, and he handed the costume to his brother to wear. And we all just took in a deep breath, and Clayton wrapped his arms around his brother and said thank you and put it on. It's been beautiful to watch the development of empathy in our children over the years, to see such beautiful similar moments. We have 2 slogans in our family. Number 1, this is why we can't have nice things, which, by the way, was ours before Taylor Swift made a song. Number 2, we'll buy more. When we say we'll buy more, what we're saying is that your relationship with one another is more important than any item or thing. And if something is lost or broken, we will do our best to replace it. When I look back at Christmas photos, I'm reminded of how much I've changed. I used to think that matching outfits, a great location, a nice camera, an excited mom would give me that perfect picture where we're all smiling to send off for all of our friends and family to enjoy. Essentially, that I could control it. And I thought motherhood would be similar. If you read the right books and blogs and have the right friends and you stay patient and calm. I had this motherhood thing in the bag. I was going to be excellent at it. Turns out that's really hard too. I got a picture, a memory of my lack of control when one year for our Christmas photo, I put the boys in black and white button-up shirts and Lily's in a gorgeous red pea coat. We were still living in Detroit, and I wanted to take their picture on these train tracks by this industrial part of the city, and these warehouses had been turned into lofts, and so it was a gray day and the colors really popped, so I was so excited. Well, we got there and we opened up the car door. It's cold, I don't want my picture taken, why are we doing this? So I had to hurry and get some individual shots, and then my friend has this idea. Come upstairs, I'll get you warm, I'll get a picture of the 5 of you. She had this idea, she would wrap us up in Christmas lights, plug it in, and take the picture in black and white. We have 240 pictures from that day, and not one are the 5 of us looking at the camera. We're holding kids up by their legs, glasses are getting pulled off their eyes, it's just chaos. And I realized in that moment I had a choice. I could either be disappointed with not having that picture, not having things the way that I thought that they would be, or I could embrace the reality of the chaos and love and laughter that our family actually is. I have learned that whether it's a season of broken Legos or the season of offering your favorite gift, it's a season of love and forgiveness. We're gonna take our family picture. I'll take it of the kids in the coming days, and the boys have Star Wars sweaters, and Lily's got matching one to go with it, and I'll find some great location in Tucson. But this time, when I look through that lens, the 3 people that I love so, so dearly, I'll take a deep breath, and I'll remind myself that even though we can't have nice things, and even though I should always have money in reserve so that we can buy more, and even though I thought my life would look entirely different, it is more than I could have ever hoped for or imagined. Thank you.